welcome to the Book Fix podcast, a podcast where we fix lives one book at a time, but also sometimes one TV show at a time. I'm your host, Cheli.
And I'm your host, Yajaira.
Oh my gosh, I would say it's been a while, but we just saw each other.
I know. What a miracle, huh? Because normally when we film these, we're like, oh, I haven't seen you in 365 days, but who's counting?
I don't remember what she looks like. Yeah. Dude, I wanted to bring this up when we were hanging out today, but May 25th. That's kind of a ways. It's what, March, April, May, 2 months? We're about to hit our 2-year anniversary for the podcast.
Dude, 2 whole years? Oh my God.
It doesn't feel like it. It feels like we started it last year.
I know. I feel like maybe it's because not that we weren't taking it seriously, but I feel like now we're hella taking it seriously.
Yeah, dude. I feel like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but it is kind of like a second job.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but just in the way with like, okay, I can't slack off on this. This is due soon. I have to do this.
I have to actually listen to this audiobook or get this book. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm so excited for our 2-year anniversary. What are you going to get me? Imagine.
I actually already have something for you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Explain it, please.
I can't spoil it. That just wouldn't be exciting anymore, you know? Because are you going to act surprised?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you have to act surprised when I give you a copy of These Hollow Vows, but I did dip it in silver, so you can't open it. It's just a block of silver, but trust me, it's in there.
Wait, that is so weird because I dipped a copy for you, but I dipped it in gold. Whoa.
Wait, did you go to Gregory, my guy, the gold silver dipper?
Yeah. We go way back.
Yeah, totally. Dude, today we are going to talk about The Last of Us, the series on HBO Max. And we did actually talk about this. When was it? Like 2 months ago?
I don't know. Whenever the first episode came out, because we were like, we're just going to talk about the first episode because we were excited. We were feeling it. And we decided to just stop and wait until the final episode.
Dude, I'm glad we did that. I knew that The Last of Us was going to get big. Like, I knew it was going to have a lot of people following it. But my God, all these thirst traps, all these interviews, I feel like I know more about Pedro Pascal than I've ever known before.
I know. I mean, trust me, I've always loved him. But damn, now I'm like, yeah, I see it now. I mean, I saw it before, but now it's like, damn, he is all of our fathers.
So I want to say this now. We are going to kind of just talk about this as, as we
just
do.
Two best friends hanging out, talking about a show that they both really possibly enjoyed. I'm not sure yet. But you played the video game. I didn't. I just kind of watched my little brother play it a little bit. I did see him play the beginning and I saw him play the ending. And
I want
a little bit of sprinkles in the middle.
I want to know though, like, we're going to spoil the fuck out of the first season and the first game. Do you not want to even talk about the second game?
Well, we did mention some major spoilers in our previous episode. So if you want to avoid those, don't listen to the first episode or the first episode that we did on it. So
okay, so then
we can
no spoilers for the second season, just so that people can join us.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I would rather not say what will happen in the second season.
Okay, you don't want to talk about when Pedro Pascal looks at the screen and it's like, "You're the Last of Us."
You already made that joke,
dude. That's the only joke I make about everything. Like literally any show, any book we read. You're These Hollow Vows.
on Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure. Whenever we release the one for you, season 4, you're gonna be like, and then Joe Goldberg looked at the screen and was like, "You it was you all along, but it's actually a mirror.
Oh, I know. Dude, wait. I kind of love that. Season 5. I love it. It's just a mirror and it's just me. Like, that's the whole season 5. You're just looking at yourself. Okay.
I know. It's like Black Mirror, so it's just me staring at myself.
Oh, wait. Well, wait. New season of Black Mirror. We just call it Mirror. It's 3 hours of just a camera facing a mirror. Write it down. Okay.
Write that down. Write that down.
We are going to spoil the hell out of this season and the first game. So just warning, that is what we're doing. If you want to watch it first and then come back, you can. If you want to just join us for the conversation, you've played the game, you haven't watched the show, join us. It's going to be fun. Okay. So I do want to talk about this like by episodes, and I think it would be nice to talk about episode 1 and 2 together since it's been a while since we've talked about episode 1.
Okay.
So
damn, that feels like a long time ago because I didn't rewatch the first episode.
Me neither. And I'll be honest with you, I was going to try to keep up with it every week it came out. Dude, that shit was hard. I could not do that shit.
Yeah, no, I can't do that either. I did it for House of the Dragon though. But that was a lot too.
It was. That was dense too. And I mean, not saying that this isn't dense because my God, there's so much story in this. But in episode 1, it's revealed that there is a sickness going around in the food, specifically yeast. And this sickness is a fungal infection that is like cordyceps, and it goes in your brain. It grows, it multiplies until you basically become a zombie, which they call, is it the clickers? There's clickers, but there's other ones too.
Yeah, there's like different types of them, which I think it's kind of interesting that there's different types of zombies in this show / game.
Yeah, dude, I love it. I have a few comments about that, but we'll get to it. But I also really like that. But the regular ones are called the clickers, and they are kind of like a hive mind. And in the first episode, it's like the beginning of the apocalypse. So when everything starts going to shit, we're introduced to Joel Miller and his daughter Sarah. And I think when the apocalypse starts, Joel isn't home. He's actually getting his little brother Tommy out of prison or out of jail because he did something, a minor offense, right?
Yeah. And he was calling him, telling him, come pick me up. I really need it. And Joel thought about staying because it was Sarah's birthday.
It was his birthday, not Sarah's.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. It was his birthday. But then he does end up leaving.
Yeah. So when he comes back, things are already weird. And Sarah is like one of the first to see the zombies. And they try to escape, and when they're escaping, there's like a lot of people trying to escape. All hell's broken loose. They're in like San Antonio, Texas, and when they're trying to like get help, when Joel is trying to get help from like a military person, he's with Sarah, who has broken her leg, I think, because they were in a car accident. It's like hectic, and it's like, oh, please help her, please help my daughter. I swear she has not gotten bit. But the army person gets like a call, and it's like, oh, kill her because we don't know, and just shoots her and kills her. But does the army guy kill himself?
No, Tommy shoots him.
Oh, you're right. Tommy shoots him.
Yeah, Tommy
but
shows up.
That's the start of our... Would you call Joel a tragic hero?
Yeah.
Hero.
A very broken hero? Anti-hero? I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but it is definitely a tragic story from the very beginning. Yeah.
Dude, I love The Last of Us, like the game. I fucking played it when I was back in 2018. I don't know how old I was, but it's so sad seeing this story play out again. And I think we mentioned it in our first episode, but the fucking actors and actresses are so on point. Like, they're so good. Their acting is amazing. Oh, dude.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by how well they made the story come to life. But what I really appreciated about the first episode specifically was how there was like a couple of shots that was exactly the way that it played out in the video game. So there would be people who would like put them side by side, and it was like, damn, it's just so cool to see it, IRL, I guess. And another thing that I really appreciated was the way that they developed Sarah's character, because obviously you do care about her in the game, but it was very short, yeah. And they definitely expanded her character through the first episode. But losing her, definitely, I feel like it hurt more in the show.
Yeah, it did, because she was a very flat character in the game. And I mean, I'm not saying that this Sarah, like, I know her entire life story.
I feel like I do, though.
I cared more about her because you saw how much the relationship mattered to Joel, and to Tommy. Like, it mattered to both of them. So it wasn't just a name and a face. It was like an actual person.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Moving on to episode 2. Beginning of episode 2. This is what I liked about the series, that unlike the game, they try to follow the main character because you're playing as the main character. They did a really good job trying to flesh out like the story behind the sickness, because I know that if you have played the game, you can actually get a lot of story through like interactables, meaning like when you're in a building, someone wrote a letter, there's a science report over here, there's a medical report over here, and that's really how you can understand how the beginning of all of this happened. But at the beginning of episode 2, it actually takes us back to the first time that this fungal infection was ever found, and it's somewhere in Jakarta, I think. And so this episode starts with like a scientist who is eating, and she gets taken by the cops. And dude, she's just an old lady. It makes me so sad, because when they're talking to her, she keeps asking like, did I do something wrong? Did I break a law? And she doesn't know what's going on, and they take her into the room. They like make her get into a hazmat suit and are just like, go in there, check, and get out. Like, do not stay there for longer. And there's a dead body. But when she like opens it, everything inside the body's like plants, like it's roots growing throughout the body. There's not even any more like blood. And she reaches into the mouth and pulls out roots, and they're moving. Yeah. And she's so like
disgusted,
scared. Like,
because I'm also disgusted.
It was gross. It was so gross. And she sits with the army people, and they're just kind of like, well, what do we do? Like, what do you think we should do next? And she's like, you have to bomb this entire city. Like, there is no stopping something like that. Everyone needs to die. Yeah. And then she like sits back, and then she's like, can you please just take me to my family? Because she wanted to spend her last moments with them. Dude, that fucking got me.
I agree with you. Like, I really loved the way that they fleshed out the world, because in a video game, our focus is the main characters. But when that happened, I felt so bad for her too, because I was like, damn, to say like you're just gonna have to kill everybody, to stop it from spreading, even though obviously it wouldn't have stopped it. And then for her to say, I literally had like chills when she was like, can you just take me to my family? Because I was like, damn, that is so sad, because obviously in your last moments, that's what most people would want to do.
And for someone to say just flat out like, everyone needs to die, she knew how bad it was.
There was a movie that I believe Gwyneth Paltrow starred in. Well, she wasn't like the star, but she was like one of the characters. I can't remember what it was about, or I do remember what it's about, but I don't remember the title of it. But it was pretty much like a virus as well, where it kind of showed at the end the way that it spread, and it was just very eerie. Because, it's just like you said, it's just like a sneeze or a handshake or whatever, and it's just like, damn. It's
Contagion. Wasn't it? Contagion.
With Gwyneth Paltrow or what?
Yes. It is very much like that. It is eerie that things spread like that. I even saw a post after we had watched episode 1,
Uh-huh.
saying that like the fact that Joel and Sarah didn't eat pancakes that morning saved them.
Oh, you're right. Dude, that is so crazy to think about. Oh my God.
And then it like kept tempting them because there was the pancakes and then Sarah could have eaten the cookie that was at the neighbors were making.
Yeah,
so
you're right.
Yeah,
Damn.
like constant exposure to the things, but they just narrowly avoided it.
Uh-huh.
But in episode 2, we kind of skipped it, but in episode 1, Joel does meet Ellie. He's actually working with his partner Tess, and both of them were basically ripped off by this guy because they were trying to buy a car battery and he sold it to someone else, and it was just like a lot of shit. And so then Joel, living in this QZ, kind of doing like underground work to get more money, he's approached by Marlene, who is a firefly. And fireflies are basically people who don't believe that Fedra, a government agency, is doing anything to stop shit and fix it. So the fireflies are like, you know what? We are going to liberate from Fedra and make a better world. Mm-hmm. And they're kind of viewed as like, they're too hopeful.
Like terrorists?
Like they, yeah, they would be considered terrorists.
Because they are always bombing shit. But also hopeful. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, they are kind of seen as crazy too, because anytime in the first one Joel would be approached by a firefly, it'd always be like, hey, you want to see the light? You want to go see the light?
That is just such a weird, that's a weird icebreaker. Hey, you don't know me, but I want to go see the light.
You know what? I don't know you, but I'd travel the world with you. Hell yeah, I want to see the light. But like Joel, is a pessimist. His daughter died 20 years ago and he has not really found a point for anything. Even with his partner Tess, which I think they kind of had a romantic relationship. Even with her, he's kind of shut off, or like walls, is not close.
I think it's very obvious that he's just been through the fucking ringer, and so he is very emotionless, or at least on the outside, to like the way that people perceive him anyway.
Yes. So in episode 2, he already has Ellie. He told the fireflies that he would transport her to Wyoming, I think, to the east, and give her to some fireflies over there. And he's only doing this because he wants a car battery out of it. So him and Tess are like, fine, we'll do that. And they are taking her, but Ellie basically tells them like, hey, I'm going to tell you a big secret, a big old secret, why they want me to go.
It's funny because in that moment, Marlene was like, you can't tell anybody. No one must know how valuable you are. And in the first moment, she just completely cracks. She's like, all right, guys, I got to show you my scars. She lifts up her sleeve and it's like a fucking bite mark. But
Dude,
it's old. It's old though.
Yes. And they didn't believe her. When they saw it, they were like, oh my God, Marlene fucking tricked us. But she's like, no, look at it. I've had it for a while. I haven't turned. And it's cool to see this moment because Tess and Joel kind of look like they've both been through it. They are both very pessimistic. But as soon as we see that, it kind of sparks something in Tess to be more hopeful and optimistic. Yeah. I fucking love that shit.
Which to Joel is like out of character, right? Because there's been no moment that has presented itself up until now for her to be hopeful. So seeing her now being able to live through this, she's like, oh my God, wait, maybe we can finally win one, right?
Yes.
So that's what we come to find out is that Marlene wants her to be taken to a certain group of fireflies, right? So that they can run tests on her and hopefully come up with a cure.
And I completely forgot, in episode 2, the place they were headed to was supposed to be their destination. Like that was the point they were supposed to get to. But when they get there, they realize that it looks like it's been attacked. There are like fresh bodies that are people, not
oh yeah, you're right.
Not clickers.
Yeah. I remember that.
And yeah, the fireflies have basically been cleaned out. But I do want to mention, dude, this wasn't part of the game, but I fucking love when they were getting there. There was a point where they were in higher ground and they're looking at the clickers and they're all just outside. And it's like the sun is out and you see all of them are kind of like on their left side and the sun goes and hits their other side and they all turn at the same time. And at first it was like kind of funny. It's like, oh my God, everyone turn left. And they all like flip. But it's supposed to show that like they are like plants and plants all react the same way. They're a hive mind.
Yeah.
So they all connect. And Joel brings up like roots go through the ground and they can spread miles. And if you were to step on one of these, like clickers that are miles away connected to this root will be able to find you because they just know. And that shit is so good, dude.
I fucking love that. I don't think I realized that, but yeah, that makes completely sense. Like so much sense now.
Yeah, and they didn't do that in the game. I think that's a good addition because I don't know if you remember, but in the game, because it was a fungal thing, they released spores. So
yes,
it was
I do
an
remember
airborne
that
virus.
it was nasty.
And they didn't want to do that for this because they wanted to show their beautiful faces, of course. So I like
don't think they have beautiful faces.
Yeah, they have beautiful faces. No,
They're
I mean the
model-like
people. Like they
faces.
didn't want to cover Pedro Pascal or Bella Ramsey's face. I think that was actually the reason. So they didn't make them do the gas mask thing. Because that's most of the game. You're in a gas mask.
Yeah, you're right. They were like, we can't cover them. They're the stars.
We can't. But yeah, I thought it was cool that that was a thing. But I'm a little disappointed that that was only ever brought up again like twice. Like that should have been more of a thing. Because if you remember in that episode when they enter the building where they have to go upstairs, they're like trying not to step on any of these roots. And Ellie steps on one and it's dried, but it's like a scary moment because it's like, oh shit, I almost called everyone. Yeah. But I think around this time, they fight their first clicker. And I thought that was cool. I fucking love Joel. I think he's just such a beautiful man.
He is a beautiful man.
Like, he goes crazy. He's like a feral fighter.
But I feel like that's
kind of there for.
Yeah, and I feel like that makes sense to his character because he has fought for 20 years and like you said, he's done many things. And it's funny because when we meet Ellie, she's also very much a fighter. And when her and Joel, not when they're like getting close, but when start getting, familiar with one another, like one of her questions is like something about killing people, no? I can't remember exactly how she's asked it.
Have you killed anyone? And it's like, but have you killed people?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, yeah. Oh, have you killed innocent people? And he's like, yes, I have. Because there's a moment, and it's a little later, but we can bring it up now. There's a moment where a stranger asks for help, and Joel says no. And because he kind of knew that it was a setup. And when Ellie and him talk about it later, he mentions like, I've been on both sides. I've been on the side of someone approaching me and I've been the one asking for people for help to ambush them.
Yeah.
So that's how he knows it because he knows that situation.
Yeah. And it's really sad, but obviously people do it out of survival.
But in episode 2, they fight clickers and fucking Ellie gets scratched and we see that she heals. Like it doesn't look infected at all. And it's like, wow, oh my God, Tess, look at this shit.
Oh my God,
Ain't
Tess.
that great?
You know what? I always knew Marlene, she would never lie. She would never force me to do something that might end my life. I just knew it.
But Tess, Tess, is your neck okay?
Babe?
It's like, your neck looks kind of swollen.
You know what's so sad?
What?
Obviously, I knew that she wasn't gonna make it, but I didn't know what happened in that exact moment. Like I wasn't sure how it played out, and I don't even know if it matches the game or not. But
yeah, it does.
Oh, it does. Okay, so she's super frantic, right? She's just like, okay,
yes,
we gotta like figure this out because they're in they're inside of a building, and she's like looking around for a map, and Joel's like, okay, well, let's just slow down. Like, we have all the time in the world. And she's like, no, we don't, Joel. And then she like shows her neck, and it's got a little love bite, a little one. And it's really sad because we talked about it on the last one, where we wanted Ellie to kind of experience like a maternal role in her life,
and she was supposed to. That's what we had brought up in the last one too. The creator of The Last of Us wanted Tess to be a mother figure to Ellie, but I think that was like too many characters for a video game, so they just kind of killed her off early. But you can even tell in the show that Ellie was latching on more to Tess at the beginning than she was to Joel, because there was a situation where it was just Joel and Ellie, and they did not talk at all.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that it was very uncomfortable when they had to be in that little tight space together. And I do appreciate that because I like that at least she was kind of attaching herself to a character. But it also makes sense because he did not fucking care about Ellie. He was just like, no, this is not going to end well for us. Meanwhile, Tess was actually being more so optimistic about the situation. Yeah. So obviously Ellie, being a kid, she'll be like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the one who actually likes me, kind of.
But it sucks because Tess does get scratched, and when she reveals it to everyone in that frantic moment, because a root is stepped on, and they're just kind of like, we gotta escape, we gotta do this, and Tess is like, no, I am staying. I will like try to hold him back, but you need to go with Ellie. This is like the first time that we have felt hopeful for anything. Even if you don't want to do it for me. And they're standing so close to each other, dude. And I think in the first episode when Tess is like revealed, they were even sleeping in the same bed. So,
yeah, they were.
There was something. But
I think they were more so like friends with benefits. I mean, I do think that there was
that's what I think
romance happening, but because of, Joel and just the hardships of everything, I feel like that's why. Well, even Tess, like, I mean, they were both hardened by their situations. So I think that's what made romance difficult for them. But they obviously cared for one another.
And it sucks because you could tell that Tess, at least, wanted to kiss him. And she couldn't. I mean, she's infected. She can't. And so when they leave and the clickers come, one of them walks up to her and kisses her. I read a post that was like, it just goes to show that whole thing that Joel was talking about, that they're a hive mind. Like, the reason it kissed her was because that was what she wanted to do. And it reacted to what she wanted because they're all connected.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That does make sense. But like, she was barely turning though.
Yeah, but they said it's different for everyone, because I think people can turn quick or it could take up to a month. I think that was what Joel had mentioned.
Damn, that's
a month feels like a long time. It feels like it's been 2 days for everyone.
Yeah, right? At least.
But that was the end of episode 2.
But one more thing that I just want to mention was, it's sad, but I don't think that Joel would have done this whole quest had Tess not asked it of him, because she kept insisting, like, I've never asked you for anything. Like, just do this one thing for me. Yeah, just do this one thing for me. And I think that's the whole reason why he decided to take Ellie to the Fireflies.
So, third episode, it's not like no big deal. Like, nothing big. Dude, they're just traveling.
The third fucking episode. Oh my God, dude. Tore me the fuck up. Are you kidding me? Nothing happened.
Talk about it.
Nothing happened. My entire life changed, Cheli.
Go ahead. Talk about it.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. I heard a lot of people talking about this episode, but in different ways, because I have no idea who these characters are, but I know that they were in the game. And if I heard correctly, they weren't together in the game. It was more of like a not a hateful relationship, but I think a little bit of a hateful relationship.
I think so, because I remember playing the game and they did kind of hate each other. And Frank is the one with the beard, right? The taller one.
I thought that so Bill is the paranoid one and Frank is the nice one. Because I do remember I remember him saying Frank's the nice one. He tells Ellie that. So that just kind of like stayed with me.
Okay, so from what I remember, Frank hated Bill because he was scared of everything. Well, and in the game, Frank kills himself, but Bill doesn't. And Bill kind of walks into Frank hanging. Aww. And in a suicide note, he reads, well, you're going to live like this the rest of your life. And that's not living, basically. Mm-hmm. And Bill just kind of has to live with this. Mm-hmm. And it was like a really nice way to like have a moment of reflection for Joel, because everything Joel was to that point of the game was Bill. Like, yes,
they are very paranoid.
Much alike. He hates getting close to anyone, and he is all about survival. Yeah. So in the game, it was kind of a good way to be like, yeah, Joel, this is gonna be you if you continue like this. So but I like
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. I like what the show did. Can you talk about it?
Bill and Frank have like their own story, and it's not really focused on, you know, Joel's character development.
Well, it kind of is. Well, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, because of the flashbacks and, you know, when he gets there. But so it starts off with a flashback of Bill. And so when the outbreak first happened, the U.S. military just kind of fucking infiltrated a bunch of like different cities to take everyone and like put them in quarantine zones. And so Bill, I can't remember exactly how he managed to like evade it. I think he was just how hard to remember. I can't remember how he managed it, but I just remember him like living alone in this whole like neighborhood. And
he waited for everyone to leave.
Mm-hmm. And so, you know, the stores are still there. So he manages to build shit. He manages to, you know, make like a fence, and I don't know. He makes like a bunch of like booby traps and shit. And then someone gets caught in his in a little hole that he makes.
Yeah.
And he hears them calling out to him, and like we said, he's very paranoid. So of course he's like, you know, fucking gun in hand and everything, and he's just like very carefully walking up to the hole, and then he sees the guy who's Frank, and I can't remember their conversation exactly, but I think Frank was trying to get like to a different city. He was like, I'm just passing by, I'm trying to get over there, and I'm not trying to like mess with anything here.
Yeah, exactly. And Bill is just kind of like, okay, directions that way. Thank you. And he tries to leave, but Frank is like, I'm so sorry, but I have not eaten. I'm hungry. And I mean, I don't want
hungry, bro.
I don't want to like put you out or anything, but I would really like a 10 course 5-star meal, please.
Like, do you have a cheeseburger or not?
Dude, but it's so nice for Frank, because he gets there, he takes like a warm bath or a warm shower, and then he eats like an actual cooked meal. Yeah. And he's just so like, I think he cries, right?
Yeah, he cries because he Bill even takes out wine and everything for him. It's like a fucking 5-star meal, bro. And I mean, we already saw the way that Bill would cook for himself, and you know, seeing him share the meal with someone else was really nice. And it's funny because even though this moment is super nice to see, the whole time he's still very like paranoid. He's just like watching him carefully, making sure that he doesn't act up.
Yeah. Dude, but Frank is so carefree. Like, he gets up and he's like, you have a piano? Oh my God.
Oh my God, bro. Beethoven, am I right?
Am I right? But he pulls out a song, Frank, and tries to play it. But he fucking sucks. I mean, in my opinion, he sounded good.
He's better than me, so
I know. But Bill is like, okay, let me play it. And dude, he fucking serenades the shit out of Frank.
You are being really nice to Bill right now, because the way that Bill did it, I was embarrassed for Frank. Bill was like, ugh, get your D grade piano skills out of here. Mm-hmm. He was just like, I know. Let me show you how the pros do it.
It'd be funny. He pulls out like a little tuning whistle, like, okay, I'm ready.
Oh my god, that would have been funny. But I mean, he almost did.
But he sings a song, and it's like the way he sings it, the tone completely shifts, because when Frank sings it, it's all happy and merry. But when he sings it, it's like unrequited love.
Yeah, and it's like depressing.
And Frank is like, well, who's the girl?
And he's Bill's like, well, who the fuck? What girl?
No, Bill. Yeah, exactly. There is no girl, first of all, bitch. But Bill is just kind of like, there's not a girl. And Frank's like, yeah, I know. Dude, they're fucking
dude.
Oh, dude. It's so sad because, like, you can see it in Bill's face that he's never done this before because he's so tense.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, and he's probably generally tense, but you know, in this moment, he's tense times 10.
But it's just so like he's been waiting for a long time to like express his sexuality.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh my god, that's wild. And oh my god, they like get into it, dude. It's like next scene, fucking. Frank's waiting at the bed naked, and Bill comes and he fucking pulls his towel off, and I'm like, bitch, you just had dinner with me.
I know. But he was like, don't get it twisted. I don't do this often, okay?
Dude. And happily ever after.
They're good. Done.
They have like a happy, good like amount of time, right? They're together for like
they have
what?
Yeah, they have a long life together, which is, you know, rare for what's happening in the world around them.
Yeah, and they don't really have clickers. They don't have outsiders or anything like that for a long time, until they meet Joel and Tess, who becomes like a trading person. Like they trade with each other.
Yeah, and I thought it was really nice how Frank was the one who really wanted to make friends, and Bill was like, no, they're going to ruin everything, and he was super paranoid. So when they're having dinner together, of course, he's super tense. And Joel sees him, and he's just like, yeah, I get it. Me too. Because they're pretty much the same.
And it's funny because at this point, Bill didn't want to trust anyone, but Joel's like, because Joel was a contractor before. And he's like, yeah, looking at that fence, that's going to last you, what, like a year? I can get you nice stuff. I can get you things that'll last you your whole life. And so then after that, they become like friends. But there's a little conversation that Tess and Frank have in the background where they're like, oh my God, when we talk on the radio, we should have like codes. So like when you hear 80s music, that means we're in trouble. And when you hear 70s music, that means this is happening. Like he starts explaining that to her. And that comes up later. I just wanted to bring that up because shit goes down.
Yeah.
Bill and Frank are living together, and Frank gets sick.
Yeah, he gets sick.
I think he had ALS.
I think so too. They never actually explicitly said it though, right? Because he just loses mobility, so he's on a wheelchair,
and he can't chew anymore. So he like has like bland soup. He drinks with a straw because he can't really bend down. And he has like such a sad life now.
Yeah.
And he they're living like this for a while, and oh my gosh, there's a day, I don't know if I'm saying this in order, but there's a day where there's an attack.
That was
I
before
think
he
the
gets
attack
sick.
happens first.
Yeah, the
Okay,
attack
okay.
happens first.
The attack happens first, and in that moment, Bill gets shot, and it kind of all comes to the point where it's like, hey, one day one of us is gonna die, you know? And if that happens, the other one is alone because we have not made any connections. And it's so sad because when Bill was shot, he's just telling Frank, like, talk to Joel, reach out to Joel.
Yeah,
You
he's
need to
telling
talk
him
to
like a game plan. He's like, this is where I have the keys to this. Go over here for this. Joel's number is this. And it's just like, babe, wait, look at me first.
I know. But when they get older, Frank gets very sick. And at one point, Frank is like, you know what? Tomorrow I'm going to die. And this is how I want my day to go. And they have like a cute day. They like go to the boutique. They get dressed nice. They have a date. They eat fancy food. And at the end of the date,
they get married.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Frank wanted Bill to crush up all of his medicine and basically put it into one drink so that, you know, he can pass in his sleep. And he wanted to die in Bill's arms. But at the very end, Bill drinks the drugged medicine. And then he basically reveals that he had drugged both of the wines because his only purpose in life was Bill. So if Bill is gone, then, or his only purpose in life was Frank. So if Frank is gone, then he doesn't want to be there anymore. And they both die in the room and lock the door. And they leave a note for Tess and Joel. And they leave 80s music playing in the radio.
Yeah.
Dude, tell me how you feel.
I don't know, because it's very bittersweet, I guess. It's sweet because, you know, what's happening in the world is so fucking scary. And so many people are dying, you know, their rates are just really fucking through the roof. So the chance of survival is very slim. So the fact that they were able to live a long life together is so sweet. But you know, obviously the way that it ended is still sad, but you know, I guess they were like, you know what, this is it, I'm done. So I was like crying through that whole fucking scene. I was like, this is so sad. This is so sad. I'm just glad that they never showed the bodies though.
I'm glad too, because it feels kind of like Schrodinger's cat. Is that the name of it? The whole idea of like, if you have a cat and you put it in a box and you never open it, you can never really know if the cat is alive or dead because it's in the box. Like, you cannot prove or disprove it unless you open the box. So like the idea of them locking themselves. Yeah, but it's kind of like, well, no, it's air sealed. Like, air sealed
I've
box.
never heard of this before, but I think it's interesting.
But the idea of it is that like you can never prove something unless you have evidence. And that's kind of like with the room thing. Like, they lock themselves in the room. You can never prove that they died. So in your mind, you can say like, oh, they're just sleeping together, you know? And they left the window open so that the smell wouldn't go around. So it kind of just continues that. Like, they're together. But, you know, it's whatever you want to believe.
Yeah. That's really sad.
I thought it was really sweet. It is sad, but you have to kind of consider like the type of world they're living in. And I prefer this Bill over the Bill in the video game by a fucking metric ton. Like, this Bill is so much, like, he has so much more character development. And I feel like it's more impactful to Joel, who was just like this Bill, to see that like even a person who was fucking stone cold has a heart, you know? And the letter that he leaves for Joel is so sad because he's like, you know what? There are people worth protecting, like me and Frank and you and Tess.
Yeah.
Damn.
And Ellie's reading the letter and she's just like, ooh, ooh.
It's sad though. I like how much more they pushed his relationship with Tess in this one, because she keeps getting brought up by different characters.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, it's obvious that she meant a lot to him, even if they never put a label on it.
Yeah. It makes me sad. Episode 4 is basically just an episode where Joel and Ellie are traveling together, and you can kind of see how fucking cold Joel is towards her.
Yeah.
And it kind of sucks because you can see Ellie's personality kind of shine more in this episode. She's like a person who likes puns. She likes making jokes. She doesn't take things seriously. And that's like the complete opposite of Joel. He takes everything seriously. He doesn't like to joke around. So it's like the complete opposite of what he's used to. And I like that even though you can tell that he's annoyed, she doesn't let up. Like, she continues to be like this. And so this is the episode where they are faced with the situation of them driving and someone jumps in front of their car and is like, hey, I need help. I need help. And Ellie's like, oh my gosh, Joel, we have to stop and help them. And he's like, nope, can't do that. And he leaves, and they basically get ambushed. And I think this Ellie has to shoot someone. I think this is the first time she has to shoot someone for Joel. And she gets very shaken up. It's not her first time shooting someone, but to Joel, it's like, oh my God, I made a little girl do that type of situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it kind of fucks him up for a bit. But he like tries having a talk with her about it. And it's like, you know what? No one at your age should ever. And she asks him, like, does it get easy? And he's like, no, it doesn't. It just fucking sucks all the time. And she's like, wow, A+ conversation right there. Like, you're doing really good giving advice.
You're killing it, bro. She's like, I feel better.
It's kind of sweet because at the end of this episode, they're both sleeping, and she like says a pun. I don't remember which one she says, but it's the first time Joel ever laughs at one of her puns.
Wasn't it something about like diarrhea?
Diarrhea's hereditary because it runs down your genes.
Yeah, something like that.
Runs in your genes. Yeah, and he laughs because it's stupid. But yeah, that's the end of this episode. This episode ends with Joel being woken up because there are two people holding guns at them, a guy and a boy.
Yeah. Okay,
why don't you talk about these two characters?
In this episode, we are introduced to two other characters, and it's Henry and Sam. But before their introduction, we kind of already get a hint of why Henry is so important in this moment. And it's because there is this woman who is the leader of a group. Oh, what exactly are they? Like, they're just like
They're a group that's not connected to the QZ, but they're not the Fireflies.
Yeah, but she's very scary. I don't remember her name either. Do you remember her name?
Dude, she's such a bitch.
She's very scary. Kathleen. It's Kathleen. Yes. But the thing is that I appreciate about The Last of Us is that everyone's reasoning makes sense. Like, I get why she's so fucking pissed. But obviously, it's like, girl, please, this is not the way. So Kathleen is really angry because Henry sold out her brother in exchange for something for his little brother, Sam. I can't remember what it was, but it's because Sam was really sick. And Kathleen's brother was someone who was very like pivotal to their group because he was so nice and everybody knew him and he had an influence over them. And so Henry knew that if he were to sell him out, then it would benefit him in a way that would benefit his little brother. Not like he wanted to, but, you know, he kind of had to. And so in the beginning of this episode, we see Kathleen interrogating someone, and she's obviously like willing to do anything to find Henry. And then we see Henry and his little brother Sam are kind of like staying hidden in this building, and Sam's really hungry and he's deaf, and so he kind of he has like this little, what is it called? It's like a little pad thing where he like writes things or draws things. And
it's an erasable pad. It like is magnetic and you can write on it.
Yeah.
Because he is deaf. So that's how he communicates.
Yeah. And so Henry is there because he's waiting on someone, but this person never shows up. And so he sees from a window that everyone is looking for, well, they're looking for him, but they're also looking for Joel
and Ellie.
Joel and Ellie because they killed a couple people, whatever. Add it to the list.
Can I bring something up?
Yeah, go ahead.
I like this part in the game because this is the part in the game where if you walked around, if I remember correctly, it's been years since I've played it. NPCs and like in the story too, characters start to mention like, oh, keep your eyes out or keep your eyes open for the man and a girl. And that's what Ellie and Joel become, like a very infamous, the man and the little girl. Because it's the man who can kill anyone and the little girl who always gets away. So it's known by this point that a man and a little girl are traveling somewhere and people hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know about that, but that is cool.
Okay, go ahead.
Let's see.
So, Henry is looking out the window and he sees everyone searching for them, but he also takes that time to learn the patterns of the people who are searching for them. So he's like, you know what? I think I have an escape plan. So him and Sam end up finding Joel and Ellie, and basically they become a group of 4. All 4 of them are planning to escape, and they're going to help each other to escape.
Yeah. And the way that they escape is because Henry comes up with the plan of them going underneath, like through the tunnels. And Joel is very much against that because he's like, obviously it must be infested, right? But Henry kind of like reassures him that no, everyone believes that it's infested, but it's really not. Like there's nothing down there. And yeah, so they go down there and it's clear. There's nothing there. And it's really sad because in the rooms, you see that they've been turned into classrooms. So that was kind of like the first action that people took when the outbreak first happened, is that a lot of them would just kind of live underground, thinking that, oh, if we live underground, then we're avoiding contact as much as possible and maybe we'll be safe. But of course, outbreaks happen anywhere. And so, that's why they're abandoned now. And it's really cute to see Ellie interacting with Sam because through this whole time, she doesn't get to just be a kid. I mean, she's older than him, but she's still a kid. And so seeing her play with him and talk to him and, just like mess around with him and all that stuff, like, because she's playing soccer with him or handball. Yeah. I'm not sure. She's playing a sport with him. And Joel is kind of like on edge through this whole time. He's like, no, we need to keep moving. But they kind of convince him like, oh, we should wait. We should just wait it out a little bit. And him and Henry have a moment together where, because I think he assumed that he was her dad, right? He was like, oh, your dad's kind of annoying or a jerk or whatever. And they both said like, I'm not her dad, or he's not my dad. And so he kind of mentions to him like, I know you said you're not her dad, but I know you're a dad. I can see it in your eyes. And I really like the moment that they have together because they both realize that they have a similar purpose. And Henry he has a vulnerable moment with him where he said that he's never actually killed anyone, but he feels like he has because, he sold out Kathleen's brother when he really didn't want to, but he was just desperate. And he says that it's something that really like keeps him up at night.
Yeah. Dude, I feel so sad for Henry because you can tell in like these type of shows, the people who don't have the heart to make it through this type of situation.
Yeah.
He has such good intentions, but like he tends to throw himself into the situation in order to like fix things. Because you can tell too that he's a very good speaker and that's kind of his strong suit, but that's not something that will help you last through this type of apocalypse.
Yeah, some people are just not built for it, like me. I would not survive this.
No, me neither, dude. I'd be gone the first day.
I'd be like, oh my God, you're going to have to fend for my food? No, I'm done.
Dude, I'd be gone the first day, and that would still be me giving my 110%. But I'd still be gone.
No, you would not.
Oh, dude, but they basically, I'm going to speed up a bit. They basically are escaping, but the people who were looking for Henry catch up to them, and they are fucking ready to kill him. But Joel is like a sniper at this point. And I don't know what happens, but something gets hit that triggers all of the clickers from underground to come up. And there's just like a huge clicker attack. And that's where we see our sweet boy, the bloater, which they only ever brought him up once.
Sweet boy.
My sweet big boy, the bloater.
My sweet innocent man.
Yeah, dude. It doesn't really talk about it much, but that fungal infection, the cordyceps that goes around, when it sits for longer, it becomes more like a stronger version of clickers. So a bloater is an example of a clicker that's probably been a clicker for a really long time. Uh-huh. And I think it's funny how everyone on TikTok wanted to fuck the bloater.
Who's everyone? Just you?
Why are you assuming I want to?
Because I know you.
What do you mean?
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to continue.
I just thought he was a very lovely man.
You're not even denying it, though.
I didn't say I wanted to, but you know, if it came up in conversation, like me and the bloater having coffee together, and you brought it up, I'm not gonna say no. You know,
you should say no.
Don't judge them before you get to know them.
Oh my God, you see what I mean? Ew.
But dude, it's so sad. Okay, whoa, a lot of hatred right now. I just like, wow, that really threw me out. This is a really sad moment because through all of this mess, it's like, you know, Joel is protecting Ellie from sniping from above, and he also protects Henry and Sam. And when they get to a safe place and Ellie and Sam are in a separate room, they're about to go to sleep, Sam is like writing notes to Ellie on his little pad, and he asks her if she ever gets scared. And she tries to make a joke out of it first. She's like, yeah, I'm scared of scorpions. Those shits are scary. And he kind of makes a face. And then she writes like, I'm scared of ending up alone. And he writes, do you think it's still you when you become a monster?
Yeah.
And then he reveals to her that he got cut on his leg. And she has this idea, because remember, she's immune. She's like, oh, my blood can save you. My blood is medicine. So she cuts her hand and puts it on Sam's leg and just spreads her blood and is like, you know what? We're going to stay up tonight. I will stay up with you while you heal. But she ends up falling asleep. And because he's deaf, he's like sitting facing the opposite direction. And he turned over like at night, basically.
Yeah, but he didn't react until she goes up to him and like taps him on the shoulder. And then he just starts attacking her, and it's really sad because obviously they end up in the living room and Sam's on top of her trying to bite her, and it wakes up Henry and Joel. And Joel obviously, you know, is gonna react. So he's trying to get his gun, but Henry grabs it first, and he's like pointing it at. Who is he pointing it at to first?
He's pointing it at Joel first, but when he sees Ellie like about to get bit, he shoots Sam, and Henry has a freak out because he's like, "What did I do?
Yeah.
What did I do?" And Joel is trying to take Henry's gun away, but Henry ends up shooting himself.
Yeah.
And dude, I like watching these types of shows. This is such a weird thing to say. You remember when I was really into The Walking Dead?
Yeah, I remember that. You're still into
Still
it
am.
sometimes, every now and then.
But when I used to watch The Walking Dead, it always puts you in like situations where it like makes you question your morality. And that shit never used to get to me because it's like, whatever, you know, I'm never in a situation where I'm at a fucking, I don't know, someone's summer home and it's like, oh my God, the zombies are attacking. And it's like, I don't have a summer home. I have a home I live in, but can barely afford. Like, it's different. But like when it gets to like the fear of The Walking Dead, where the entire cast at the beginning was like Hispanic, I'm like, oh, that's a little too close. And I feel the same way with The Last of Us, because the people there feel much more like people I know, you know?
Yeah.
So
like you can connect to them more.
Yes. So when it came to the point where Sam is killed by Henry, like the fear that Henry felt for that second is so fucking like palpable. Like you can fucking feel the, oh my God, I killed my brother and now I have to live in this hell by myself.
And then he realizes
everyone I know is dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had no, like, he lost his purpose. And
yeah, because his whole purpose was Sam. I mean, he literally fucking sold someone out for his little brother. And so, and it's really sad because, like you said, seeing it in his face, you just know immediately what's going to happen because he's just like, the way that he looks, it's like he can't survive in this world anymore. Because, like you said, he lost his purpose. And it's just really sad.
And it sucks too because since episode 3, like pivotal characters keep dying. Like it's Tess, Bill, and Frank, and now it's Henry and Sam. And it just keeps happening to Ellie. Like she's experiencing
loss
little moments
after loss.
Yes. Yeah. It just is bad all over. And so we come to episode number 6. And in episode 6, the episode starts off with like they've been traveling for a very long time. They're in a snowy place and they enter. And because remember, they're going to keep heading west. And while they're trying to get to this firefly place, Joel knows that he's nearing the area where his brother's at. So 2 birds, 1 stone. He's also going to try to find his brother. So he goes into this little hut where this couple is living and basically asks them for directions. And they're told that they're going to have to cross the river of death. And it kind of scares Joel. And he has like a moment because Ellie's like, that doesn't scare me. And the people living there, they're like, yeah, it doesn't scare you, but look at him. And Joel walks out. And this is like the first time he has a panic attack.
Yeah.
I don't think Joel in the game ever had panic attacks.
I wasn't entirely sure what was happening to him. I was like, is he having
a heart attack?
Dying. Yeah, same.
Like I thought that was like kind of leading up because I know he gets hurt later. I thought they were going to make it more so like, oh, he got sick because there is a downloadable content in the first game where Joel gets sick. So like, I thought that's what it was leading up towards. But no, he's just has a panic attack and he explains it more later. But it sucks. Like, oh my God, I can't. Like every time they make these apocalyptic shows, they tend to forget that there are things you still have to live with, like anxiety, mental illness, your fucking period. Like there are still things that you are going through. So
I'm glad you brought that up because I was really glad to see that she fucking is excited to see Tampax just there. And I'm like, damn, I don't think I've ever seen that in like a show like this.
Because they don't talk about it ever.
I guess periods just don't like happen when you're in the apocalypse.
Can you imagine fucking being in the apocalypse, not being able to change what you're wearing and getting an infection?
Oh my God, that would fucking suck.
That shit would suck. But they start walking. They get past the river of death and they crash into a group of people on horses. and these people are like checking them, and I think they like send a dog out, and it's like, okay, sniff them out, see if they're infected. And Joel is standing in front and Ellie's in the back, and this is his second panic attack because he's so sure that the dog is going to smell the infection on Ellie. Like, he's like, oh my god, that dog's going to eat her alive. That's what's going to happen. And it kind of felt like that was about to happen because the dog was growling, but it was more like his perception of the situation.
Yeah.
But the people that find him are from the commune that his brother has created called Jackson. And he sees his brother again for the first time in a long time. And I think that's the first time Joel smiles in front of Ellie.
Dude.
So it's kind of like, oh, must be nice. That man smiling at you. He's never smiled at me.
Must be nice. 24/7. I'm not pissed or anything. Why would I be?
I remember when I played this part of the game, I also felt kind of bad for Ellie because at this point of the game, Joel has already decided that he does not want to take Ellie. He wants Tommy, his brother, to take Ellie because he's more, fit for the situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at this point, he's kind of just trying to slowly, like,
distance himself
from her.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucks because I think the way this show explained him not wanting to go was a lot better because I honestly don't remember why he didn't want to go in the game. Like, I know there was a bigger reason, but in this one, it's like he talks about how he feels like everything he's ever done with Ellie has caused her pain. Mm-hmm. Like her having to kill someone, her having to experience loss, her almost dying, and him always just being there, standing and watching. And he's like crying about this.
Yeah, he is definitely like paralleling this moment with what happened with Sarah. Like he's terrified of, losing someone, or I don't know, I guess being the cause of someone dying.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a resemblance to Sarah because, Ellie's so young. And he does bring up Sarah when he's talking to Tommy about it because he's trying to convince Tommy to take her. And he's just telling him like, I'm experiencing these, dreams and these moments and, these attacks. And he's like giving him all of these reasons why he shouldn't be the one to take her. And, and it's really sad because I don't know if it's the same in the game. And I don't know how you feel about it, but I was really sad that Joel seeing Tommy and then being happy about it was kind of short-lived because he quickly realizes that Tommy, he built his own life and he built it without Joel there. It's like Joel's been searching for him this whole time, but Tommy hasn't looked for him because it's like he can't because he's like in this like safe haven area and they don't want, many people to be brought in. And Tommy has his own wife and they have a child on the way. And it's just like Joel gets kind of, I guess, jealous. I don't know. And it was really sad because Tommy's obviously excited about it. He's like, I'm going to be a dad. And Joel's very like pessimistic. Like, okay, well, we'll see how that goes. It's like, damn, Joel.
I remember in the game when you reach Tommy, and I just want to say it's been years since I've played this. I know I keep saying that, but just in case I mess something up. But in the game, when you see Tommy, it's kind of the same situation. They're happy to see each other at first, but after a while, it's just kind of like it's Joel being pessimistic. And I think it plays more on the fact that Tommy has moved on from Sarah's death. And it's like, look at everything I've created and you're still stuck in the same situation. You're only doing jobs because you can get a benefit out of it. And I know that in the game, there's actually an attack that happens to the commune. And in this attack, Ellie is away from Joel and you're away from Ellie. And I think you play both characters. And when they come back together, you see Tommy immediately run to his wife and is like, oh my God, are you okay? How are you? And this is the first time Tommy sees Joel and Ellie run up to each other. And Ellie's just kind of like, oh my God, you should have seen it. Maria totally shot that guy. And she's like explaining it like, you know, how she would, like making sound effects, using her hands.
Yeah.
And the whole time Joel is like holding her shoulders and is like, are you hurt? Are you hurt? Are you hurt? And she's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just talking to each other. And Tommy's just like, oh my God, he loves her. Like this is not the Joel that I once knew.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, he kind of decides like, Joel wants me to do this favor. I will do this favor. So that's how the decision is reached in the game.
Oh, that's cute. I kind of wish that would have happened, but
the fight still happens because while Joel and Tommy had that talk about, you know, Tommy should take her, Ellie beforehand had figured out who Sarah was and also happened to hear a part of the conversation. So she was upset, and it does happen in the game, just I think in different circumstances, where Ellie is like, you know what? Everyone in my life has always left me except for fucking you, Joel. So why are you doing this? This is just gonna fuck me over more than help me. Because if it's not you, then I'm just going to be more scared. And he is trying to talk to her. And then Ellie brings up like, you know, I'm not her, right? I'm not Sarah. I'm not your daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of steps back and is so upset. And he's like, you know what? You're right. You aren't her. And you will never be her. I'm not your dad. And you're not my daughter. And he leaves. And they both kind of like...
I forgot that happened, but that fucking hurt. When I watched that, I was like, don't come back. Don't fucking say that.
I feel like they needed to say that too. Like it did fucking hurt. Mm-hmm. But that fight, it's funny because they say that to each other, but then the next day he's at the stables and is like, okay, you choose. Who do you want to go with? And he's automatically like, you, here, let's go. And that kind of happens in the game too. But you can tell after this point that their relationship is different. Like it's closer. And I don't know. They don't want to say anything about it at this point. It isn't until like I'm going to skip way ahead. It isn't until episode 7 where you kind of start seeing the development of their relationship, because they get to the college where the Fireflies are. And you know what? It sucks because they're like, they're, you know, already at the end of the game. Good for them.
Yeah.
But immediately while they're outside, they get attacked. And in the heat of like the attack, Joel gets stabbed and is now like dying. And they escape. They go into like a little casita, a house. And now it's up to Ellie to help Joel, but she has no idea what to do.
Yeah, and she even tells him too, like, I can't do this without you. But he is coming in and out of consciousness. And
it sucks too because he's in the middle of this while it's also like one of the worst winters in that area.
Yeah. Uh-huh. And so he's telling her to leave. He's just like, leave, like keep going. Well, you know, as well as he can because he's obviously losing it. And she gets mad and she's like looking around trying to find anything. And the way that it's played out, it almost makes it seem like he did convince her to just go. And so she's heading up the stairs, she's going to the door, and then she kind of has a moment where she remembers what happened before with her friend.
So she has a memory of when she used to be a Fedra student, because they basically train the people who are going to be Fedra officers. And she remembers a moment where she was like getting in trouble for beating up a kid. And the kid, her name was Bethany, had brought up like, you know what? You're never the fighter. It's always your friend. But where is she now? Because it turns out one of her best friends had left, like not known by anyone, had just left in the middle of the night, and she had been gone for like 2 or 3 weeks. So she gets in trouble and is basically told like, you need to clean up your act or you are not going to be a Fedra officer, but you can be. So she's like, okay, you know what? Not going to misbehave anymore. I need to clean up my act.
She's like, I'm a new woman.
in the middle of the night, her best friend Riley comes back and is like, hey, join the Fireflies. Let me go take you out on the best night of your life. And Riley and Ellie both go to the mall.
Which would be the best night ever.
That mall looked like it was popping, dude. That's the nicest mall I've ever seen in my life. You know.
And it's really cute.
Spirit of Halloween and everything.
It's always Halloween there. And it's just really cute because it also shows like their age. And not just their age, but also the fact that this is foreign to them. You know, like a mall that we're so used to them would be like, oh my God, it's a fun house.
I know, dude. It was so sweet because it was every little thing that was making them happy. Like, because Riley really wanted to impress Ellie. So they go to like a photo booth, an arcade. They are like visiting all these little things. But Ellie gets angry because Riley reveals that she's leaving. Like this was the reason they're hanging out is because the next day she's going to have to leave because the Fireflies are stationing her elsewhere.
Yeah, in a different city, so it'd be far away from her.
So Ellie is upset. She leaves, but then she comes back and they meet at the Spirit of Halloween. And Riley's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I wanted to show you this place, but you're angry at me. And they make up. And I don't remember how it happens, but they start dancing. Like, they put on music and start dancing. And in like the heat of all of this, Ellie takes off her mask and goes up to Riley.
Because they're wearing Halloween masks.
Yeah. And just kisses her. And then Ellie immediately apologizes. And I fucking love this because it was the same in the game. Because she says, I'm sorry. But then Riley smiles at her and it's just like, what for? And then they both kind of like just have mutual feelings for each other.
Yeah.
And same in the game. They kind of just look at each other smiling and they're like, well, what do we do now? Because Riley had already said like, I'm not leaving. I will stay here with you. As soon as they say that to each other, what do we do now? A clicker comes out and attacks them and they both get scratched or bit. So they have like this moment where they're like, you know what? We are in this together. Let's just sit with each other until the very end.
Until we lose our minds.
Yeah. And Riley turns, but Ellie doesn't, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellie has to kill Riley at the end.
Yeah. But then we go back to the present, and that's when she's like frantically looking around the whole house, and she finds like sewing supplies or like a little thread with a needle. And she goes back to Joel and she starts stitching him up. And this moment was so fucking sad because she's like holding his hand.
Yeah.
And he holds it back.
Yeah, and anytime she's like next to him, like when they're going to sleep, he always like leans towards her too. And that's as much as he can do because he's like in and out of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
But she knows that she needs something else to help him because even though she has stitched it, it's still getting infected. And on one of her on one of her day out, oh my God, I can't speak. On one of her days that she goes hunting, she ends up catching a deer, but she also runs into two other people who are part of a different commune. They crash into David Ellie crashes into David and he's like, you know what? My people are hungry. We really need this deer. And Ellie's like, well, you know what? My people are hungry and we need this deer. So they decide to trade and she says that she will give them half of the deer if they give her medicine. And David sends the other guy and is like, okay, he's going to go get medicine. Mm-hmm. And so David and Ellie kind of stay together and they're just talking. And he's like a preacher. He believes in God. And before that, he was a teacher. So I
fucking hate it.
Because it fucking rhymes. That's why. Me too. But they are talking and he starts preaching about like, you know what? I didn't believe in God before this, but now I do. And I believe in things happening for a reason. Like, for example, one of our men died recently and we just really want to find justice for the situation. But we didn't know how. But we did know that he was killed by a man and a little girl. And you know what? You're a little girl, and you're with the man, right? And she gets scared, takes the medicine, and bolts. She like leaves the deer.
Yeah,
and
she said, "Fuck the deer."
She goes and gives the medicine to Joel, and a day passes, and his wound already looks so much better, and she gives him the second shot too. So when we go back to David, he's back in his commune, and he's basically like, I know you all heard about the little girl and the boy, the man. We have found them. We will track them, and we are going to find justice for them. And you can kind of see in this situation, because they're having dinner and the meat looks disgusting. You figure out that they're eating people.
That's how he's managed to keep everyone alive, because obviously they look to him for guidance. And another thing that I noticed while they're eating is everyone has like fucking the smallest portion, and his plate is freaking huge, and it has the most meat too. He
is very much taking advantage of this situation. Like everyone will turn to him because he always knows what to say to get his way. So when Ellie goes back, or it's the second day, Ellie is with Joel. He's looking a lot better. He keeps being in and out of sleep. She goes outside and she sees that all of these people have tracked where they are. And she like puts a knife in Joel's hand, who is like fucking almost sleeping. And she's like, you gotta kill him. If they come to you, you gotta kill him. I will try to lead them away. And she does. She leads them away, but she gets caught by David. So then you go back to Joel, who is now conscious, and he is like killing these people who attacked, and starts torturing one of them, and is like, where the fuck is Ellie? Where is Ellie? And fucking like pulls out this man's kneecap, dude. Ow!
Oh,
like,
God, that was traumatizing.
I know. I can't. If I was in that situation, like tortured for information, even before they got me in the chair, I'd be like, you know what? I wrote it all down just for the situation. I color-coded, I highlighted.
You would be like the second Deadpool movie with his friend who... the guy who played Thanos was like, I'm gonna torture you. And he's like, you don't have to. You really don't have to. I'll tell you everything you want to know.
Dude, it's so funny. But they tell him where Ellie is, and he goes off to get Ellie. So now back to Ellie's situation. She is basically being told by David that like everyone in this commune doesn't get it, but you get it. Both you and I can change the world. We both have violent hearts, and we've always had violence in our hearts. And, you know, I feel like I've always had violence in my heart, even before this whole situation. Dude, that's the most fucked up thing for a teacher to say. That's like,
teacher preacher, you mean?
Teacher preacher. Like, why would you admit that? And Ellie's just like,
yeah.
Hold on. I told you I like violent video games. I didn't say I had a violent heart. This is awkward.
Yeah. And it's just uncomfortable because he is like coming on to her almost. And it's just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? But then she notices like an ear just like on the corner of the room. And she's like, oh my God, like you're eating your own people. And he's just like, you know.
Yep.
Kind of have to in these situations. They look to me, and he's like, do you have any idea how much pressure that is, Ellie? Do you?
I know. And he tries to like have a moment with her and like reaches out to hold her hand, and Ellie holds his hand, but she like breaks all of his fingers, and he basically steps away, and he's like, you know what? I was gonna tell the commune nice things about you, but now I'm going to tell them exactly what you said. What? Tiny little pieces? Like cutting her into tiny little pieces? They grab her, and they are ready to cut her like to pieces. And she takes this moment to bite David and convinces him that he's going to be infected because of her infection. But yeah, there's like the whole boss fight. Fucking that fight was my favorite one. But the fight against him, Ellie just goes fucking feral and stabs this man like 500 times.
Yeah. I remember this moment in the game too.
I think in this moment too, when Ellie is stabbing him, Joel walks in while she's in the middle of stabbing him.
In the game, right?
Yeah, they don't meet up outside. They
remember
meet
that.
Inside.
Yeah.
And he has to be the one that pulls her off because I think she would have stayed in there if
the whole
Joel
fucking
hadn't
night.
come in. Yeah, but he comes in, and same thing in the game when they see each other again. He basically has to be like, hey, it's me. And she, like, in such a broken voice is just like, Joel, he tried to.
Yeah.
And they hug, and Joel is like, it's okay, baby girl. It's okay. I'm here. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dude. Him calling her baby girl is the equivalent of how I felt when in the Walking Dead game Lee called Clementine Sweet Pea.
I wish that I remember Clementine. You talk about Clementine a lot, but I don't know about that part. I'm so sorry.
Dude,
but hey, I feel it.
I told you about that.
Because this moment meant the absolute world to me. It was so sad because she's like covered in blood and he's just like calming her down.
And dude, it sucks because going into episode 9, they are walking together in the college, and Joel, a changed man. I don't know if the stab is what did it to him, but he's just like, yeah, that's all it took. Took all the nasty out of him. But it, like, he's like, oh, hey, kiddo, you want to play Boggle? Oh my God, Chef Boyardee. He's all smiles. He's like talking. He's chatty, and is so like, oh yeah, you know, Sarah was like you know, except you know, you're not girly. But you know, I'm not saying you're not girly. Wait, I'm not saying you don't have a nice smile.
Wait, I'm not saying that this and that. And she's just like, it's okay, chill.
But he's being like such a dad, and she's obviously just not responding.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she has that like long stare where she's just like not really
1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, the 1,000-yard stare. Yeah, thank you. Where she's just like not really there anymore. You know, well, at least in this moment. And he's trying to get her back, and I think it's so sweet because he's trying to be more, you know, a little bit more chipper for her, but she's not really matching the energy.
And it sucks because she did lose her innocence. That was like one of the most traumatic things that she had been through, and she was alone, not knowing if Joel was alive or not at that point. So there, in this part of the game, it's the same where they're walking and it's like, okay, I'm gonna push you up here, please get a ladder, bring it down. And when she throws the ladder at you, she starts running, and she's like, oh my God, you have to come up here. And
I remember this in the game.
She sees giraffes, and in the back of the song, or in the background, they're playing a song, and I don't remember if it's called this. Double check, call me out if I say it wrong. But the song is supposed to represent Ellie's innocence, because it's like these little moments that you can have with her, like the whole giraffe thing, her being just genuinely happy that this is going on, even though everything in her world fucking sucks. So it's like, it's just a bittersweet moment that, like, yeah, we can have this, but it's not always going to be like this because she's never going to be the same.
Yeah, and I think that Joel sees it, right? Sees that she is changed, and so he kind of just like brings up, hey, why don't we just forget about all this? Let's forget about the fireflies, forget about what we were doing this whole time, and let's just go back to Tommy's and, you know, live there, or, you know, just exist. And she kind of has a moment where she's like, yeah, but then that means that all of this would have been for nothing.
But it's sweet too, because she says, like, no matter what, like, when all of this is over, I will go anywhere you want, Joel. I will go with you. Yeah. But this is something that we can't half-ass. Like, we have to see this through.
Yeah, to the end, so, pretty much.
they continue their walk, and Joel, in this point of the walk, reveals that after Sarah had died, he did not see a point in living anymore and tried to off himself by shooting himself, but flinched at the very end. And he never understood why he flinched, but he was like, I couldn't do it. And Ellie doesn't really know what to say and is just like, oh, time heals all, I guess. And he was like, no, this wasn't time that healed it. Insinuating that it was her that healed him.
Oh my God. I had to pause it. I was like, I can't. No mas. No more. Oh my God. And she doesn't even know what to say. She's just like,
I'm glad that didn't work out then. Because I think that's what she says. Like, I'm glad it didn't play out the way it was supposed to. And it's so quiet. And he's just like, you know what? It's a perfect time for puns. And she pulls out her pun book and they're talking for a bit. But they're attacked. And then you are automatically taken to the last part of the game, the last section, which is a hospital that Joel wakes up in by himself. And Marlene, the person who gave Ellie to Joel and was asked to like carry her all the way over here, is there and is just kind of like sitting back amazed. And she's like, oh my God, Marlene is talking. She's like, I had 5 men bring me over here and everyone died and I almost died. How is it that you and a girl walked all the way over here and made it? Like, how did you do that? Like, everyone is talking about you. How did you do that? And he's like, I didn't do anything. It was all her. Like, she is the reason we're here.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, where is she? I want to see her. Where is she? And it's like, well, she's being prepped for surgery. And before I get into that point, at the beginning of episode 9, we had actually seen a scene with Ellie's mom. And Ellie's mom was escaping a clicker while also giving birth at the same time, and was actually bitten by a clicker while she was giving birth. And then she cut the cord. So a bit of the infection got into Ellie, but she lied about it because she didn't want Ellie to be killed.
Yeah.
So that was a little situation. Oh, by the way, the lady who played her is the actual model of Ellie and voice actress of Ellie.
No way, really?
Yeah, that's the actual Ellie.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but we're back to the present. And Marlene is like, we don't know why, but the cordyceps were in her system already and have basically attached to her brain. And we want to take a little bit out and like create a cure. But because it's in her brain, she's not going to make it. But it's okay. I mean,
she's not explaining it, though. She kind of just says, yeah, we got to take it out and create the cure. And he's the one who's like, but it grows in the brain. And she's like, yeah. But like, and then she tries, about like bigger picture here.
Yes. And she tries explaining it like it's okay. Like she doesn't know. It's going to be painless. And he's like, no, you can't do that to me. You cannot do this to me. You don't understand.
Yeah.
And Marlene is like, I knew her from when she was a baby. I understand. I told her mom that I would protect her. I understand. And I think out of everyone, Marlene is the only one that really understands how much they both love Ellie. But he is like being escorted out and he just goes wild. Like starts from the very bottom level to the top level of the hospital, is just killing everyone.
Yeah.
And ends up getting to the room where Ellie's at and not even listening to the doctor, who's like holding a scalpel at him and is like, I won't let you take her because this is our only chance. Kills all the doctors in there. Well, in the game, he kills everyone. He doesn't leave the nurses alive.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and in this one, yeah, he kills only the doctor and carries Ellie and leaves. And
when he gets to the parking structure, Marlene is there and she's like holding out her gun towards him and she's like trying to make him understand the bigger picture and
reason with him too. Like,
yeah,
we know that you just did this. You killed a lot of people, but we can fix this. Like, we can still fix this.
Like, it's not too late. It's okay.
And he like shoots her. She's on the floor and then is like begging for her life. Like, just let me go. But he does not deal with that shit. It's like, you're just going to come for her, and shoots her again. And Marlene dies.
Mm-hmm.
The next point where Ellie wakes up, they're in the car and Ellie's like, what happened? I thought we were with the Fireflies. And then he lies and is like, yeah, we were. They drugged you. They did some tests. Turns out there's a lot of other people like you. There's nothing they can do about it. So we left. There was a raid. They stole your clothes. We had to leave in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. That's what happened.
Uh-huh.
And Ellie's just so sad about it. She like turns around, refuses to look at Joel.
Well, first
and
she's like,
way back,
is Marlene okay? And he doesn't answer that. And that's when she turns away.
It's funny. Because it's so weird seeing Pedro Pascal, just the way he is outside of The Last of Us, and then seeing him be Joel. Because I think about how fucking silly that man is, and just that question, like, is Marlene okay? And he's just like, Wait, remind me who's Marlene?
Which one was that one again?
Wait, are you talking about Darlene? Because Darlene's fine. It's like, no, Marlene, curly hair. Oh no, she's dead.
Oh no,
yeah,
she's fucking dead. Yeah,
sorry,
she's gone.
I honestly, I think she's fine except for those 2 holes, the gunshot. No, but she's good though. Like, she wasn't screaming when I left, so I mean, she's good.
I think that means she's fine, honestly.
And it's funny too, because like I was considering that like the whole time, and like their walk back to Jackson, Ellie's like, you need to be honest. Swear to me that what you said happened there at the hospital happened. That what you said happened with the Fireflies happened. And, you know, he is quiet for a moment, but it's just kind of like, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, that totally happened, Ellie. Like, why it's kind of weird.
Why would you even second guess that you were asleep the whole time?
Wait, are you lying to me, Ellie? But he swears that what happened, and it just ends with them going back to Jackson.
Yeah. And I mean, I did see this in the game, the last moment, but I don't remember when she asks him about it, like what happened. So I don't know if it's the same, but I do wonder, like, I don't know the second game, so don't spoil it. But
I'm not going to say anything about the second game.
I don't know if, like, why did she ask him to swear to her? You know, like, did she just have an inkling, or?
She had an inkling only because it was weird to her that they had left and she hadn't woken up at all. So she just had a feeling that something had happened. And remember, throughout the entire show, we're kind of seeing that Joel has done things in the past, and he has seen it, or she has seen it too. He's done things that are not morally correct, but he does it to better his situation. And throughout the entire game and the entire show, he's known as the man with the little girl who he will kill anyone to protect her. So I feel like all of those things coming together, she just wasn't sure why it ended that way.
Okay. Yeah. I guess.
I kind of really, when I first played this game and even watching the show, I think the show did it a little better. But playing the game and starting from the lowest level, going to the highest level to reach Ellie, it makes me so fucking mad that he went through all of those floors and never once was like, hey, this is bad. Like, I shouldn't be doing this. And it forces you as the player. Oh my God.
Why would you do that in a game, though? That defeats the purpose.
I hate it because it forces you at the very end when the doctors are in the room and they're like, don't touch her. You can literally stand in that room for minutes just kind of looking at them, and all the doctors are like telling you like, no, you can't do this. You have to stop. You have to stop. But the game won't end until you kill them.
Oh,
and
really?
It sucks because,
so you can't like just walk out?
Yeah. No. I get it. Like, the game is linear. It's trying to make you go to the end. But that was so, like, I know Joel would have done anything for her, but it's crazy to what extremes he went to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not surprised, though. I mean, for a very long time, he was just like a fucking husk. You know, like he was just surviving in this world. And for him to finally find a purpose in his life, which is, you know, protect Ellie because he couldn't protect Sarah, I think that makes sense to me. Why he would just go fucking feral in order to keep her safe.
I wish, and I know this is not what Joel would have done, but I wish they just would have talked about it. Because even going into the situation, Ellie didn't even know what was going on. Neither did Joel. They just knew that they were supposed to take her to a doctor and they would find a cure. And I wish they would have discussed it more. And it's so funny. Before we started filming today, I was on TikTok and I saw a post that one of the people was saying like, oh, I bet you all them fireflies are just med students, because they did not handle that well. And then like an actual medical student was like, you know what? She's right. Because why would they kill the only test subject that has the cure? You know, and yes, it's a fungal infection, but like in society now, 2023, people have still not figured out like how to get rid of fungal infections, like the way that they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So why is it that everyone is like, oh, this is totally going to work? Like, it would have still been a lose situation. They would have not gotten the cure and Ellie just would have died for nothing. And even though the characters, Joel and Ellie, wouldn't know that, Marlene probably wouldn't even know that. I feel like that was still a conversation worth having. You know, it was kind of in the wrong of Marlene for not even allowing them to have this conversation.
But I feel like because she knew that it would cost her her life, she wouldn't want to vocalize it. Because even when she was explaining to him the little bit that she did of, you know, having to take out the thing from her brain and all that shit, like, it's like, you can't really say it because, you know, it sounds evil. And so him not wanting to talk to Ellie about it made sense to me, because Ellie was, you know, she expressed how, you know, all of the people that she cared about just kept dying. And if she knew that she was the only cure, then obviously she would want to do it.
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't tell her either.
I wish they would have talked. I remember hating the ending to this game when I first played it. I don't know. I just wanted a conversation. Is that so much to ask for?
Yes, of course. You think people talk? You think people talk about their feelings? No.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, it just ends. And so I read somewhere, I'm not going to say anything about the second game or the second season, but I read somewhere that was like, okay guys, don't watch the second season because happily ever after, they're just going to live in Jackson for the rest of their lives. Daughter, dad situation. That's it. And I'm going to stay with that. This game is so unforgiving. The show is unforgiving.
Dude, it's so funny because, well, I mean, we're not going to spoil, but it's like, I want my mom to see this because I really like the first season. But then I'm like, I don't want her to go through this.
It's going to wreck her.
Yeah, I know it will, and she'll never forgive me.
Oh my God. Have you seen those posts that it's like, me watching episode 3 of The Last of Us with my homophobic family?
Oh my God. That must have been uncomfy.
Dude, I'm glad they did that though. And I hate that people are trying to be like, oh, they're pushing the gay agenda. It's like, no, the characters, Ellie was like a lesbian. Like, she is.
Yeah.
That's not something you can take away from her. It's not pushing anything. It's the same story as it was. And someone tried making like a connection of like Bill and Frank were kind of hinted to be together. I don't really know much about that one, but
no, I'm not sure about that one, but I knew about Ellie.
Yeah. Oh God, I fucking love Ellie. She's such a good character. I
I
wonder
know.
if they're
I
gonna
love her
wait
too. I wish she
until-
wouldn't get so much hate.
I don't understand why Bella Ramsey got hate.
I think that people, from what I saw anyway, they weren't that excited that they were playing Ellie. But I think that they did an
were
amazing
so
job.
good. Oh my god, no one I'm shocked that they're not praising Bella Ramsey more because their acting was so fucking good.
I know. I'm obsessed. I mean, hey, I loved Bella Ramsey since Game of Thrones.
Dude,
But-
I'm just
Anyway, we've been talking forever now.
2 hours.
Yeah, so we gotta wrap it up. How did you feel about the show as someone who was a huge fan of the video game?
I loved it so much. I loved all the actors in this. I thought they did such a good job portraying everything and staying true to the story, but also contributing more lore where it made sense. I am excited for season 2, but I feel a certain way about The Last of Us as a whole because I don't like games that torture you for no reason. And that's kind of what the second season felt like.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that when it gets to that point. But I just kind of wish that it ended with this. And I know the ending is a little unsatisfying for people, but I think that this is a good ending for Joel and Ellie, and then just leave it open-ended, but that's not going to happen, clearly. That being said, I think I'm going to rate it the same way I rated the first time I played the game. I think I would give it like a 3.5 out of 5.
For the show? For the first season?
Show. I love the first season. I just feel a certain way about the ending.
I get you. I understand. Honestly, I'm okay with ending it here. I don't know. I'm not excited to see the second season, but I mean, I guess we'll just see when it happens. Well, I really enjoyed it. I didn't get to play the game, like I already explained. I think I would rate it a 4, like a solid 4. I feel like I loved the way that the characters were fleshed out, especially Bill and Frank. Even Henry Henry and Sam. I just loved seeing other characters, give more life to the world around Joel and Ellie. So I had a good time. It was depressing though.
Acting and characterization and character developments, 5 out of 5. Just want to say that because I fucking loved everything. It's just the way I feel about the game. And I feel like I said, I can't really say much until the second season.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Well, I guess that's it. We're done.
Oh my gosh. Thank you. Thank you, everyone who is listening to us in audio form, whether that be Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, or anywhere you get podcasts on. This was a long episode, so if you want to just reward us a little bit by giving us 5 stars and leaving a review and being like, wow, she gets it, the bloaters are hot. If you want to do that, that would be amazing. Rating is also a good way for us to be recommended more, but a nice way for us to get recommended more is if you tell your friends and family about us, because the best type of exposure is through word of mouth. If you are feeling extra nice though, and you happen to have an extra $5 in your bank account, what can they do?
So we also made a Patreon, and through our Patreon, we would love to have our listeners become more involved in what they see from us. So we would love our Patreon to be more of an area where we can get our listeners to recommend things for us to talk about. So you can follow us on patreon.com/bookfix.
Thank you. And if you are watching us on YouTube, thank you so much. If you want to like, comment, and subscribe and hit that notification bell, we post every Tuesday and Thursday. This isn't a book, so we can't read a review off of Storygraph and Goodreads as much as I'd love to.
As much as I would love to do that. Here's my review. I'm just kidding.
But thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on Thursday.
Bye.
Bye. Dude, it's so funny because I still feel like I didn't have really a lot to say for this episode.
2 hours.
Even though it was 2 hours long. Even though it was 2 hours long. I have so much to say about you. Season 4. Not you.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm very excited.
Do you know anything?
No, girl, I don't know anything. Well, my coworker did say like one little thing, but it wasn't really a spoiler. It was more of a that she saw a spoiler and she kind of reacted in a certain way. And I was like, you know what? Don't finish that sentence. Don't finish that sentence.
Well, I'm excited for you to watch it and for us to talk about it. I have so much to fucking say about that.
Okay, well, you better start writing your notes so that you don't forget anything.
Okay, I will. I promise.